guys, welcome to our seedling tour. Today we are going to show you some of the seedlings that are growing and being very close to transplanting. We're also going to show you some of our seedlings that are just germinating in the house. And then we're also going to share with you what seeds we still have to seed and what we're going to actually directly seed out in the garden. So let's get started. Right now out in the greenhouse, these are the seedlings we have out here now. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but there's over 700 plants right here because we actually start them in these small trays, which we do share in our How to Start Seeds video. If you want to see how we do that, you can click above, and I'll also include that link in the description. Right here we've got our Victoria Blue Salvia. This is one of our absolute favorite flowering annuals in the garden. Over here we have some orange snapdragons, the Liberty variety, and these are actually seeds that we seed saved from last fall in the garden. Here's the Verbena bonariensis. So it germinated pretty quickly, but it's been growing a little bit slower because this one and the Blue Victoria Salvia were seeded within 1 week of each other, and look at how much bigger the Blue Victoria Salvia is. This right here is another one of our favorites in the garden. It's the Purple Majesty Millet. We love growing it in the garden because it has beautiful color foliage, reaches a few feet high, but it also creates these beautiful plumes, seeded plumes that birds love to land on. And we're big bird nerds, so we like to watch the birds. Here's our Tropic Giant Cabbage. These ones were seeds that we had for 2 years, so I was a little worried they wouldn't germinate, but about half of them germinated. This is a new grass for us called Lowlander. It's supposed to get 28 to 36 inches. So I'm really excited to add this throughout the gardens for some extra texture and in a wild looking unmanicured garden. The Madame Rose Snapdragons are one of our favorite cut flowers that we had last year, because what's really cool is the actual flower is a double flower. This is one of our other favorite cut flowers, the Flowering Kale, Crane Red. Chantilly Snapdragons is a new variety for us this year. It's a really tall 48-inch high snapdragon cut flower, but we're very disappointed here because we had it sitting under an area that had a lot of condensation in the greenhouse, and when the drips came down, it was like bombs on the seedling tray, so it knocked some of these seedlings right out. And in the greenhouse, we do use a plastic that keeps most of the condensation out of here. So it was just like one little area with that condensation, and it just made me so angry because when you work so hard at growing a seedling, it's like, oh, you hate to see something bad happen to it. This is Heliochrysum, and this is a 2-year-old seed, and I never even seeded them last year because they got lost in the mix. And they take a little bit more time to grow. So they germinated quicker than they stated on the actual package, but they do grow a little slower. But look how healthy they're looking. Here's some Blue Queen Salvia. We love adding blue to the garden. That's the #1 color that bees are attracted to. Here are some Scarlet Snapdragons, the Liberty variety. Liberty variety is a more medium height, so up to about, I'd say 18 to 24 inches. We started some tomatoes in December that are right here. These are the Sun Sugar Cherry Tomato. We grew them early so we'd be able to have some food a little earlier. Just like in our veggie pod here in the greenhouse, we seeded all of this and are growing food in here, so it's been really nice to enjoy fresh food. We have snack-sized peppers already started. These ones here are a small cherry pepper, really sweet little red peppers. Over here are the small lunchbox peppers. They are like a multicolor, so red, orange, green, and they're really sweet. They're one of our favorites, and definitely a favorite for Lana and Selah as well. We have quite a few herbs that we did seed in December. We did show on video from that far back. And then we also have some early snapdragons here. Looks like it needs some water there. We started some snapdragons really early because I wanted some flowers to decorate for hosting Easter, but it looks like we may not be even having a lot of people over for Easter this year. With everything going on, I'm wondering if even like by then we're able to. We have some sunflowers that we trial seeded over here, which they 100% germinated from a lot of the seeds that we seed saved, but we didn't trial them in paper like a lot of people tell you, like in paper toweling, because we actually wanted to have these plants and enjoy flowers this time of year. And what better year to decide to have flowers ready for us to enjoy than this year when we are stuck at home. We even started some zinnias early to have beautiful color just for our own enjoyment. Zinnias for our spring garden, we wouldn't even start yet. We'll probably start them in another, I'd say the first or second week of April. When we water our seedlings, we use a Fog It nozzle by Dram. We like it because it's not heavy, I'll show you. It's more of a mister. That way it's not dropping big drops of water, and it's also not soaking them too much, because I think everybody's experienced where their seedlings may have gotten too much water and they can die easy. They don't want to be overwatered, just like any plant, but seedlings tend to be just a little bit more sensitive. Tour inside of the house. I had to get the kids and Jason out of the house because the kids are off of school. Jason's working from home and it's nice outside, so they can go outside, run around and play, and let it be a little quieter in here, so I'm able to film and give you guys the indoor seedling tour. So let's get started. All of our seedlings start off in our homemade germination chambers, which you can see how and why we do this in our How to Start Seeds video. I'll attach that link in our description of this video. So the Ziploc just creates it to be more like a greenhouse in there, and it creates more of like a humid area, so it really forces those seeds to germinate and pop a lot quicker. So we have a few different herbs in there, such as mini mints and purple basils. The lime basil just got taken out of the bag this morning. The Potomac variety of snapdragons is new for us. This is the color Royal. And we take it out right as soon as these seedlings are this tall, because if they get any taller, they could get a weak stem on them if they stay in those little mini homemade germination chambers. My favorite tomato of all time, you guys, is the pink Berkeley. It's an heirloom tomato. It's a determinate. Indeterminate tomatoes are ones that get really large, usually need staking, and they produce tomatoes all season long up until they freeze over. And the determinate tomatoes are the ones that don't get as wild and crazy. They still get large. What tomato plant doesn't? But they have one time of producing. This is a new flowering variety for us called Sunball. These fake sunball flowers were the inspiration to seed our own this year. This is also our first year growing sesame. So it gets about 36 inches tall, it says, so I'm excited just to try it, see what it does. Over here we have a steakhouse tomato from Burpee that's supposed to be super huge, so we're gonna try that. This right here is the broccoli diplomat. This is from seed saving last year. We allowed one of our broccolis to seed out so that way we could seed save. Here are more Chantilly snapdragons, which are the really tall snapdragons for cut flowers. And these are right now ready to come out of the bag. I'm about to take out the artesian bumblebee tomatoes. So it's an artesian mix, but they're in a cherry size tomato. I'm also taking out the blue beech tomatoes, which is a nice Roma tomato. Now that these snapdragons are taken out, every day I rotate this tray until they're about this size over here. That's when I would normally move them over to the grow light, but this year, since we have the greenhouse, I will be moving them out to the greenhouse. So all of these varieties over here are definitely ready to be moved out to the greenhouse. Before we had a grow light or a greenhouse, we just used the windows to grow, and a lot of our seedlings got really leggy and weak stems. That's why we invested in a light system, which now we use for growing microgreens in the house, but the greenhouse is where we transfer them and it keeps them nice and strong. If windows are all you have, just remember to keep rotating. And if you're growing them after they're about the size that I just showed you, I would start adding a fan in this area. By giving them that fan, you're also kind of adding that natural element. And the fan is that natural element of wind. And the wind, when it blows, it creates that stem to be stronger. So if you're constantly rotating your trays, then your stems are gonna keep moving every which way, which will make it a lot stronger seedling and a lot stronger plant. These windows here are facing the south, and they face our gardens, so we can enjoy our gardens once they are huge and lush and colorful and beautiful. What's really nice too is we have these shelves that Jason built for me, and they're actually removable. We just put these little things in here. He drilled holes, put them into the side of the window, and we can slide a whole nother board right here anytime I need extra grow space for more seedlings. All right, so let's move on to the varieties that are ready to be moved out to the greenhouse. We have our spicy bush basil, which I'm actually not gonna move any of our herbs out to the greenhouse right now. I'm actually gonna grow those under the grow light because I want them to just be grown in the house for now. Over here we have some pink snapdragons. This is the Liberty variety. It's that nice, 18 to 24 inch tall variety, perfect height. Over here we have our anise. I just love the smell of that. And then over here we have more blue Victoria salvia. I told you guys we were obsessed with this, so this is a second batch just to have some extra for planting in the gardens. What's really cool about the blue Victoria salvia is half of our stock was seed saved from the garden. And now that I know that the seed germinates really well after harvesting it ourselves, I'm gonna harvest extra seed next year, so that way we don't have to buy any next year. And over in the grow light right now, we are actually growing microgreens like we've showed you in the past few videos on how to grow them, how to harvest them, what they taste like. It's been really fun for us to have this nutrition-packed food right in our own kitchen. It's literally right in our kitchen. And we also have more right over here in this little area. This is where I'm gonna actually grow some of our herbs. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just share with you some of the varieties that we still have to seed inside of the house. We are in Wisconsin, Zone 4, so this is more so for our schedule and time of seeding here this time of year. So what we have left to seed are some marigolds, cypress vine, nasturtiums. Well, we got some extra catgrass because Fuzzy loves it. If you guys have never tried catgrass, the actual name for it is Zumula. That's Z-U-M-U-L-A. All cat lovers should have this because, oh my gosh, if you guys ever see Fuzzy throughout some of the videos or our stories, she loves the catgrass. So that's always a good one. Some more zinnias. These are the Binary Giants, so these ones are really large. So we're gonna start these a little bit later, so when we transplant them, they're actually a little bit smaller. So that way they grow in size when they're actually in the gardens. We got more nasturtiums and some lettuce mix, which this is something we're actually gonna start inside on the grow lights for our fresh food right now. I know you guys are probably wondering where are all of your veggies that you're seed starting, or where are more of those flowers that you're seed starting? Well, we directly seed a lot of our garden, especially vegetables. So I'm just gonna name off a few different varieties that we're growing in the garden that we are directly seeding, because I would say, anywhere between 40 to 60%, probably this year even more so, is directly seeded into the garden. Beans, peas, which we're gonna be starting peas soon, you guys. I would say usually by April 1st, I'm getting a garden bed ready for the first round of peas, and then 2 to 3 weeks later, I seed another garden with peas because that's our favorite. Dill, which I did start some already in the veggie pod in the greenhouse, but I also like to directly seed some into the garden. It just comes up so much more beautiful and just in like a really good cluster. Cucumbers, winter squash, melons, carrots, more melons, carrots, cucumbers, sunflowers, all of this we do in the garden. Radish, I'm gonna grow some of these indoors right now. Yes, we've got this whole other box too. So this box is more of like our fall garden. I know in the last video, Jason showed you a clip of our new garden bed that we added out there, and that's where we're gonna put our pumpkins. We're gonna try a new spot. So let's see, we've got Atlantic Giant pumpkins, the Masque de Provence pumpkins, which are like the once Cinderella beautiful. They look fake, but they're also supposed to be like one of the best tasting pumpkins. I've actually never tried it, but I just love the look of them just for decorating. It's amazing. Look at all this stuff, you guys. We've got so many, a whole box of seed here to do. We've got gourds, more sunflowers, different gourds. We're doing a big apple gourd that looks pretty good. The corn roaster gourd, that looks pretty cool. More sunflowers, large pumpkins, pro-cut sunflowers, which are the shorter variety. They still reach about 4 feet, but they're more for cut flowers, so they're the perfect ones for bouquets. But we love adding them in little spurts throughout the garden for just like that extra color. And we seed them at different times, so they're all in blossom at different times. So that way they're not all blossoming at once, you get color for a longer period of time. And then we also have ornamental corn, which we saved a whole bag of ornamental corn from last year. But we're gonna kind of separate these into different gardens and at different times so they don't cross-pollinate, because the red stalker actually has the red corn stalk, so it's more reddish. And I just think that that would be a really cool addition. And then we've got a big one of the mammoth, which we saved a huge bag of mammoth seed last year as well from seed saving. But we got more just because we're getting bigger. We're making the garden just a little bit closer with the sunflowers this year. I'm doing a really cool design pattern, so I'll share that when the time comes. I hope you guys found this helpful and just found it fun and entertaining just to see what another gardener has going on in the house right now, because we're all stuck in the house. So it's just always fun to kind of see what everyone else is doing right now. So thank you so much for watching. If you don't already subscribe, please feel free to subscribe, and don't forget to also hit that bell. That will allow you to never miss one of our awesome videos, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day.